In a small town nestled along the edge of an ancient forest, legends of a mystical creature circulated among the residents for generations. They spoke of a guardian, an enigmatic being that protected the secrets and ancient magic of the dark forest. In this setting grew Liam, a 12-year-old boy whose curiosity was only surpassed by his courage. Liam was fascinated by the stories he heard, especially those told by his grandmother, a retired librarian who possessed vast knowledge of the local lore and a collection of rare maps and books. Each story was a window to another world, a world where the natural and the supernatural intertwined in ways that defied understanding. His grandmother always emphasized that the guardian was not just a protector of the forest, but also a guardian of the delicate balances between the forces of nature. Liam's house was on the edge of town, where the lawn gave way to the ancient trees of the dark forest. From there, he could see the outlines of the trees stretching like twisted fingers against the gray sky, a constant invitation to explore. Although his parents warned him not to enter the forest alone, the call of adventure was too strong for a free-spirited and imaginative boy like Liam. With each step Liam took toward the forest, he felt as if he were entering a realm where the rules of the ordinary world did not apply. The air seemed charged with a palpable energy, and even the sound of his footsteps on the fallen leaves echoed with a strange resonance, as if the forest itself were listening and watching. He knew that each story had a kernel of truth, and if the guardian truly existed, he might one day find him. From an early age, Liam was captivated by the tales his grandfather told him. The stories about the guardian of the forest and the mysteries hidden among the ancient trees fueled his imagination. His grandfather, a former explorer, had a special way of recounting his adventures, which always ended with a note of caution. The forest guards more than shadows. It guards memories and ancient spirits. These words echoed in Liam's mind each time he approached the forest, a mix of warning and invitation that further ignited his youthful curiosity. His grandfather, with eyes always shining with enthusiasm and nostalgia, recounted how in his youth he had crossed paths with inexplicable phenomena and creatures that defied human logic. He described shadows moving against the wind, whispers coming from places where no one could be hiding, and glimpses of bright eyes in the gloom that watched, forever vigilant. Each story served to prepare Liam for the enigmatic world that awaited beyond the forest's threshold, teaching him to respect the ancient forces that resided there. Never take more than memories. Never leave more than footprints, his grandfather would say, a rule that Liam took to heart in his youthful forays. He knew that the dark forest was no ordinary place. It was a space where the past, present, and future intertwined, a place where the laws of nature and the whims of the supernatural met. The stories told by the fireside during the cold winter months planted in Liam the seeds of bravery and respect, qualities necessary for anyone daring to explore the dark forest. Armed with the knowledge passed down by his grandfather and a compass he had given him on his 10th birthday, Liam felt increasingly ready to uncover the secrets that the forest kept hidden beneath its green and shadowy cloak. On an autumn afternoon, while walking along the forest's edge with his dog Duke, Liam noticed a strange pattern marked on an old tree. It was a symbol he recognized from his grandfather's stories, a circle intertwined with lines that stretched like roots. Driven by a force he could not explain, Liam decided to follow the path of the symbols. As he followed the symbols marked on the trees, Liam felt that each step took him deeper, not only into the forest, but also into a labyrinth of ancient stories and forgotten magic. The intertwined circles seemed to be a guide, leading him along a path that few had trodden before. Duke, with his keen sense of smell, also sensed the peculiarity of the environment, moving with an unusual caution, his ears always alert. The trail became increasingly dense, and the marks on the trees appeared more frequently. The sun, filtering through the tree canopies, created a mosaic of light and shadow on the forest floor, bringing the fallen leaves to life. The wind whispered through the branches, and Liam could swear he heard voices among the whispers. Voices telling ancient secrets, urging him to continue, promising revelations and tests. With each step, Liam's heart raced faster, pulsing with the excitement of adventure and the nervousness of the unknown. He was aware that he was approaching something significant, something that might explain the stories that had filled his childhood with wonder and warnings. He recalled his grandfather's words, "Respect the forest, and it will respect you. Disregard its secrets, and it will close itself off to you forever." By the end of the afternoon, the symbols led him to a clearing where the light of dusk poured like liquid gold. At the center of the clearing stood a rocky formation that did not seem natural. It was an ancient stone altar, covered in moss, with more symbols carved into its surface. It was here that the paths of the symbols converged, and Liam felt a wave of energy wash over him, as if the forest breathed a sigh of relief, happy to have guided yet another lost child back to the heart of its mysteries. As he ventured deeper into the forest, the sky closed in, shadows lengthened, and an otherworldly silence settled. Duke barked occasionally, restless with the surroundings. Liam, equipped with a small lantern and a compass that had belonged to his grandfather, followed the symbols with a mix of fear and excitement. Hours in the forest began to weigh on Liam when he reached a clearing dominated by an immense ancient tree, whose roots seemed to form a natural throne. It was then that he saw the Guardian for the first time. The creature had eyes that shone with an emerald green light, and its body appeared to be made of leaves and moss. The vision was terrifying yet incredibly beautiful. After a long period wandering through the forest, Liam reached a clearing where a colossal tree stood majestically, its intertwined roots forming a throne that seemed to have awaited for centuries. It was in this almost sacred setting that he caught sight of the Guardian for the first time. The figure was imposing, with eyes that emitted a piercing emerald green glow, and its body blended seamlessly with the surroundings, composed of leaves and moss. The presence of the creature was both intimidating and fascinating, revealing the majesty and serenity of a being that was part of the forest itself. The atmosphere around the throne was electrifying, charged with an ancestral energy that Liam could feel pulsing in the air. The Guardian observed the young man with an expression that combined curiosity and infinite wisdom. Despite his initial fear, Liam felt a strange calm settling within him, as if the Guardian's presence brought a peace that transcended fear. "You are brave for coming this far," said the Guardian in a voice reminiscent of the rustling leaves in the wind. "Many hear the calls of the forest, but few have the audacity to respond." Liam, though impressed, found the strength to reply, realizing that this was a unique chance to interact with such a mysterious and powerful being. "You have come farther than most, young human," the Guardian said, its voice echoing like the wind passing through the leaves. "But why do you seek the secrets that this forest holds?" Taking a deep breath, Liam answered with the truth. "I want to understand what is here, to protect and learn, not to expose or destroy." The Guardian looked at Liam with an expression that seemed to evaluate the sincerity of his words. After a moment that felt like an eternity, a faint smile touched the creature's lips, and the environment around them seemed to warm with its approval. "Your heart shows a rare purity," the Guardian finally replied, its voice now softer, like the breeze of spring. "The forest senses your intentions and chooses to reveal its mysteries to those who truly wish to guard them. You will be tested, Liam, not only for your courage, but for your ability to keep sacred what will be shown to you." The air was thick with expectation as Liam processed the Guardian's words. He knew that the trials he would face could be arduous, but he also understood that it was an honor to be considered worthy of such secrets. With renewed determination, he nodded, ready to accept any challenge that could help him understand and protect the enigmas of the dark forest. The Guardian, hearing his words, proposed a series of challenges to test Liam's courage, intelligence, and purity of heart. Each trial took Liam deeper into the forest and deeper into his own heart. He faced ancient riddles, crossed a river whose waters reflected his greatest fears, and encountered creatures that spoke in riddles. The first challenge presented by the Guardian was a riddle engraved on the moss-covered stones surrounding the throne. That which makes but never breaks. That which comes but never arrives. "What is it?" Liam pondered, his mind spinning through the stories of riddles his grandfather had told him. Finally, the answer came. Tomorrow. With a nod from the Guardian, he moved on. The next test was a chilling crossing over a river that mirrored not only his image, but also his insecurities and deepest fears. With each careful step on the slippery stones, Liam faced visions of failure and rejection. Closing his eyes and taking a deep breath, he remembered his grandfather's words of encouragement and continued, each step strengthening his resolve. Further along, in a hidden clearing, Liam came across creatures that seemed to have stepped straight out of the fairy tales his grandmother had told him. They spoke in riddles, each revealing lessons about nature and the interconnectedness of life. I speak without a mouth, hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with the wind. What am I? After a moment of reflection, Liam confidently answered, You are the echo. With each challenge overcome, Liam felt more connected to the forest and its mysteries. He realized that each trial was not just a test of skill or courage, but a lesson on how to live in harmony with the world around him. The Guardian watched with an expression of growing approval, seeing in the young man a promise of continuity for the protection of the ancient secrets of the forest. Upon completing the challenges, Liam was taken to the heart of the dark forest, where the Guardian revealed an ancient altar to him. Here, the secrets of the forest were kept, a compendium of ancient knowledge, protected by powerful magic. These are for those who respect and understand the sacred nature of this place, explained the Guardian. The altar was an imposing structure, carved directly from the living rock of the forest, covered in moss and lichens, as if the very earth had swallowed it and then returned it as a relic of time. Upon it lay objects that seemed simple, yet carried an aura of immense power. Crystals that shone with an inner light, scrolls written in an ancient language that Liam could feel more than read, and small bottles containing essences that vibrated with the energy of the wildlife around. These items are the hearts of the forest, the Guardian said, its voice softly echoing through the sacred space. They guard the knowledge of the ages, the cures developed by the ancient civilizations that walked these lands, and the rituals that maintain the balance between all living things. Liam, moved by the seriousness of his mission, approached the altar with reverence. He was instructed to choose one of the objects, a decision that would determine the form of his guardianship and the path he would follow from that moment on. After a moment of reflection, he chose a quartz crystal that seemed to pulse in response to his touch. With this choice, you commit to learning and eventually teaching, continued the Guardian. The path will be difficult and filled with responsibilities, but also with great rewards. You will help maintain the harmony of nature and, with that, the world of men. With the crystal in hand, Liam felt a new weight, not just physical, but spiritual. It was as if he had just taken on a role that would forever bind him to the ancient forces of the forest. He knew that from that moment on, his life would change. No longer just a simple boy from a town on the edge of a mysterious forest, but a protector, a guardian in training under the tutelage of the Guardian of the Dark Forest. As he prepared to leave the altar, Liam looked back at the Guardian, who now seemed more a part of the forest than ever. Thank you, he murmured, a simple expression of gratitude that carried the weight of an eternal commitment. Go now, learn, grow, and one day return, said the Guardian, slowly disappearing into the mist that began to form with the falling night. Liam followed the path back home, knowing that each step brought him closer to his new destiny, each whisper of the wind in the leaves a lesson to be learned, each shadow a memory to be discovered. The Guardian offered Liam a choice: to take one of those secrets and share it with the world, risking losing the forest forever, or to keep the secret and protect the forest. Liam chose to protect. He knew that some things are too powerful and sacred to be exposed. In that solemn moment, Liam understood that the true value of a secret often lies in its preservation, not in its revelation. He looked at the crystal he now carried, feeling its weight as a constant reminder of the silent pact he had made with the Guardian and the forest. He knew that by choosing to protect the secret, he was also choosing to protect a legacy much older and more sacred than himself. You made a wise choice, young Liam, said the Guardian, his voice now almost a part of the murmur of the wind among the trees. True wisdom is not about how much knowledge can be spread, but understanding when to keep it for the good of all. As he prepared to leave the clearing, Liam felt a deep peace settle over him. He had entered the forest as a curious boy, guided by stories and legends, and now he left as its protector, a guardian of its mysteries. He knew that his life had changed irrevocably, that every choice from then on would reflect the commitment he had made to the forest and its ancient traditions. Walking back through the now familiar forest, every sound, every shadow seemed to wave with new meanings. Liam was attentive and respectful, aware that the forest was watching, always vigilant, always present. He passed by the same path he had come, but now he saw everything with new eyes, no longer as a place of frightening mysteries, but as a sacred home he had sworn to protect. Upon arriving home, the reunion with his family was emotional. His parents immediately noticed a change in him, a new maturity manifesting in his gaze and behavior. Liam shared his adventure, omitting the details that needed to remain secret, but conveying the importance of what he had learned and the role he would now play. When Liam emerged from the forest, he was a changed boy. He had seen wonders and terrors that few could imagine. Although he had chosen not to reveal the secrets of the Guardian, he shared the truth of his journey with his grandfather, strengthening the bond between them as they began to protect the knowledge of the Guardian together. As he stepped out of the dense vegetation marking the boundary between the natural world and his small village, Liam felt the sunlight hit his face with a new intensity, as if each ray carried a special meaning. The fresh air had never seemed so sweet, nor the sky so infinitely blue. With each step toward his home, he reflected on the trials he had faced, the lessons learned, and the weight of responsibility now on his shoulders. Upon reuniting with his grandfather, the embrace was long and filled with unspoken meanings. The old explorer saw in his eyes the flame of discovery and the weight of early maturity. Sitting together on the porch of their home, with the twilight painting the sky orange and purple, Liam recounted his adventure, carefully choosing his words to preserve the sacredness of the secrets entrusted to him. His grandfather listened, nodding in understanding and pride, knowing how rare it was for souls to see what Liam had seen, to learn what he had learned. "You now carry more than stories, Liam," he said, his voice low and firm. "You carry a legacy, a debt to something greater than all of us. And I am here, my boy, to help you carry that burden." The days that followed were filled with learning and preparation. Liam and his grandfather spent long hours discussing strategies to protect the secrets of the Dark Forest, reviewing ancient texts and maps that his grandfather had collected on his own adventures. They also implemented measures to ensure that no sensitive information could fall into the wrong hands, establishing protocols that blended ancient knowledge with modern conservation practices. Liam's life became a balance between school and his new role as guardian of the forest. He learned to see the world through a broader lens, realizing how each human action could affect the natural balance around him. And while he held secrets that could fascinate the world, he knew that true strength lay not in revelation, but in preservation. Thus, with the support of his grandfather and the respect of his community that perceived, even if they didn't fully understand, the change in him, Liam grew not only in age but in wisdom and respect for life in all its forms. He became, each day, more than just a guardian of the forest's secrets. He became a symbol of hope and resilience, a reminder that even the smallest among us can protect the deepest truths. Would you have the courage to face the mysteries of the Dark Forest? If you enjoyed this adventure, leave your like and subscribe to the channel for more stories where the human heart meets the mysteries of the world. What would you have chosen? Comment below and join the discussion.